and then you got what would you call this? Because my brother was asking me about this. He's like, "Is this
Real
supposed to be
life
like a
horror movie?
document?" Yeah, and
I don't know.
I think it's a fascinating approach, especially as, if I'm not mistaken, the directorial debut of Anna Kendrick, who I thought does a
Mm-hmm.
great job not only starring in this, but in particular, playing several different women of the hour, not just the one who's on the show where a serial killer just so happens to come on looking for a date, but all of the women of the hour that he ends up scoping out in order to be able to become his next victim. And I think it was an interesting approach to cover a serial killer movie.
Yeah, definitely. This is also a film that takes its inspiration from a real life case involving a stranger than fiction situation where this serial killer ended up on the dating game, the popular '70s game show of sorts where men competed for the chance to date a woman, and it uses it as a sort of platform to interrogate gender dynamics, particularly gender dynamics of the era, but also modern day gender dynamics, things that haven't changed in the 50 years or so since this real life case happened. And there's some elements of the film that are anachronistic, like they don't quite line up with the time period, whether it's, she doesn't have like a classic 70s hairdo. She just sort of looks like Anna Kendrick does now, or that there's this one sequence in particular, which is one of my favorite moments in the film, where she really turns the premise of the dating game on its head and sort of asserts her own right to be there and power. And it is something that feels like it was written in the 2020s, not in the 1970s. But I think it still speaks powerfully to a moment. And even if it's an intentional departure from the reality of the era. So I think there's a lot of smart commentary and funny bits as well. Like it's clever, it's not like silly, but it's sharp. And I think, it also has this really interesting kind of non-linear structure to it, in which you end up sort of having to play detective and put the pieces together a little.
I thought it worked overall. I thought it was pretty tense. Like you said, I think that may be the biggest issue that people have with it, is like how there's like what feels like loose ends. But I think that you have to have something like that, especially when it's based off a real life case where a lot of stuff doesn't get answered. And I think you have one particular character who is trying to survive with the guy, and it's the approach that she takes that I think has caused a little bit of a buzz. There's only so much you can say because it's a true story, and it did play out that way. But I would recommend it. Again, I think this should have been out in theaters. I think it would have been a really good rollout for her. Man, poor Anna couldn't even be there for the premiere of the movie. We know she was in the room when it happened, but that was the strikes, and now she couldn't even be in the room for the theatrical release. But it is available in the comfort of your own home. Woman of the Hour gets my recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is this thing, like we don't like to trash Netflix too much because, first of all, like, it's a platform that has produced a lot of things that we really like, and is a platform that has made it easier for a lot of people to see a lot of things. But
it sucks.
But look, we see it with movies like Woman of the Hour, and we saw it recently with another one of our favorites. It's What's Inside. Like, movies go to Netflix and they kind of just die there sometimes. Like, I think Woman of the Hour hit the top 10 for a little bit, but I'm not seeing as much buzz as I feel like it deserves. So if you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, if you haven't had a chance to watch It's What's Inside yet, make sure you circle back to these movies.
Also, The Irishman. It's a really good Netflix movie. It's up there.
Who directed
in case you
that
saw
one?
half of it. Definitely check that one out.